Welcome back to Melanin Speaks. We are back with part 30 of Let Me Help You Up. And we are talking about free your feelings. Freeing your feelings. Y'all know that I can talk. So I am going to get right into it. It reads, crying is self-care. You may not think it, but it is self-care. It cleanses you from everything that you're feeling at that moment. I don't care how many times a day you cry, but it's definitely a cleansing. After you cry, it makes you feel more calmer. You don't always need to dissect it. Sometimes you just need to feel it. I know sometimes, like, if I want to cry and I don't cry, I can feel it all in my throat, like a lump in my throat. And that is nothing but anxiety. We think when we hear anxiety, it's all these like, oh, I'm just nervous. No, anxiety can be throat issues when you feel like you can't swallow, when you feel like something's in your throat. Anxiety can be you sleeping constantly. Anxiety can be so many things. But when you let that cry out, that throat thing, it dissolves. It's gone. It's gone. I know for me, for sure. That's what I feel. So anyway, let's get into it. Free your feelings. We so often think that if we are feeling any heightened emotions, we need to fix something. It's not always true. While sometimes our emotions can be an inner signal that we need to reflect on areas in our lives, most of the time they are just our bodies longing to feel and express in order to find healthy release. That can be difficult for us to see in the moment. It may feel like an emotion will last forever. We forget that it is just an emotion. Emotions through our bodies. If we can let it flow without judgment and without impulse to fix something, we can experience release. We can get out of our own way. Man, we be in our own way. We definitely be in our own way. Sometimes we feel like, I don't know if you guys do this, but sometimes I will get into, like, I'll wake up like with it and I feel something, but I don't know what it is. Like, I feel like I want to cry. I feel super emotional. I feel this, but I don't know exactly what this is. And then you start replaying in your head, well, maybe it's this, or maybe it's that, and maybe it's, and then you end up making yourself cry because now you're thinking about something that is probably not even it. Because after you cry about that certain thing that you thought about, you still feel that way. So it wasn't that. Okay, let me go pick another thing so I can cry about. Okay, it wasn't that. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes it's just an emotion. It's fine. You can have your bad days. You can have your emotional days. You can have your stress days. You can have your depressed days. You can have your, uneasy days. You can have your days that you don't want to be bothered. You can have your days, like, you can have these days, and it's okay. Be kind, be gentle to yourself, because at the end of the day, you're human. You're human. I don't know what word I was trying to say, but you're human. And we have these days when we're not all happy and happy go lucky, and we're not just all these things that people see or that you're used to feeling, or you needing to show up for someone else. You may not feel like that day. You may not feel like giving any advice that day. You may not feel like hearing anybody's stuff. And then you have those days where you're happy, you're smiling, you may be crying because you're happy. You may be able to hear someone's mess. You may be able to give advice. You may be able to do these things, but whichever day you're having, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up. We be so hard on ourselves. I know I do. I know I do. When I'm unable to take in someone's mess, um I feel like, "Oh, I'm not a good person. I'm not a good friend. Oh, I shouldn't be this tired. I should be able to, you know." But I've worked on that. I worked on that aspect of my life, and I now don't feel guilty as I used to. I feel more so like, okay, I might not be ready today, but next week I might be ready to, I can listen to you and I can give you some sane advice, not no advice that emotions is all running crazy because I'm having an emotional day or an emotional setback. So it is okay to free your feelings. It also read, it is okay to cry. And this is, you know what? This is more so for the men because us women, girl, listen, we cry in a heartbeat, okay? You ain't got to give us permission to cry. Yeah, you don't have to give us permission to cry, okay? We gonna cry. We gonna let it out. But this is for our men. It is okay to cry. It is okay to be vulnerable, even if you don't want to do it in front of your woman. Um, you should be able to do it in front of your homeboy, and he should not be judgmental towards you. He should not make you feel like, hey, brother, you don't need to be crying. What are you crying for? Like, no, it is helpful for your mental state. It's helpful for your emotional state, and it's helpful for your physical state. Because if all that stuff is bothering, you're gonna be sick. You're gonna be, body gonna be aching. All this stuff. So the release is good for you. Um, Now I'm not saying, you just be a crybaby over everything, but it helps to release and to cleanse, like I was speaking on in the last video last Wednesday. Like, you have to release that stuff. Um Again, it says it is okay to cry. It is safe to cry. It is safe. Man, that's about to make me cry. We have a hard time with feeling safe. We have a very, very hard time feeling safe. And that's with women, men, children. We have a really hard time feeling safe, whether it's speaking out, whether it's being vulnerable, whether it's being in a relationship, being at work, being out on these streets, having friends. We have an issue with being safe. We have trust issues with safety. I need to talk about that subject. I need to talk about that subject. And I'm going to come back. I'm going to do a live about that subject. Um, Again, I'm going to have to read this again. I'm sorry. It's okay to cry. It's safe to cry. We need space to feel and release sometimes. Loving ourselves is simply reminding ourselves of that and allowing ourselves to carry through with our emotional needs. Our emotional needs are very important. Our mental health is very important. Our physical health is very important. All of that is very important if you want to live freely. And when I say freely, I mean you don't have any um time to think like, well, I can't do this and I can't do that. I can't do this, because you're living so freely that it's like, you know what? I feel safe in my skin. I feel safe here. I feel safe this. I need to check on my emotional state. I need to this, that, and the other. A lot of us, we don't check on our emotional state. We don't check on our mental state. We don't check on our physical state. We are just living day to day. We wake up, do the same routine every day. There's no self-care in there. There's no self-soothing in there. There's no self-check in there. There's no self-nothing. It's about everything else. We wake up in the morning, our routine, whatever it is your routine is, and you straight to work trying to please your boss, trying to please your the customers that come in, or whatever type of work you do. I'm trying to please everybody. But you don't even wake up and do self-care. Yeah, self-care is washing your face, brushing your teeth, making sure you eat. But what else do you do? What else do you do for yourself um, to check on your emotional state, to check on your mental state, to check on your physical state? What do you do? Ask yourself that question. What do you do to check in with your emotional needs? And I'm going to leave y'all with that. Until next time, peace.